Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Recruiters with No Limits. Always live and never scripted. I'm here with my sidekick and co-host, John Ruffini. Johnny, what's up, buddy?
How are you, sir? Good to see you.
Dude, I am pumped for today. Are you ready for this? Can I just do the
Absolutely.
intro right now, John? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the amazing 30-plus years staffing guru, Joyce Russell. What's up, Joyce?
Man, it's great to be on the show today. Can't wait.
We're
I
so
had to
excited
say
to
that,
have
Joyce.
you.
I tell you what, just your resume alone and what you've done, John, we both have to agree, it's amazing.
It really is. When you look at literally paving a career and loving what you do and everything you've achieved and worked for, where you started, where you are now, it's a great success story. But you know, a lot of what you've done has been, you know, you've earned it all the way. I mean, you've worked hard, and it's good to see that hard work pays off.
Aw, thank you guys so much. I love that I started as a recruiter. I was supposed to marry my college sweetheart and walked into a staffing office in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and ended up going to work there as a recruiter and not marrying Rob. I always say that didn't work out, but this sure did. So it's been an awesome ride with an amazing company. So lucky me.
So you've been with Adecco, you said, since 1987, right?
Now, you're not supposed to be dating me, John, but yes,
I'm sorry.
Woo!
Yes, 1987. Well, just to illustrate, you know, we don't see that as often anymore, Joyce, where someone finds a place that they love and can grow consistently, and they stay for their whole career. It's so rare. What was it about Adecco that allowed you to do that?
You know, we had such amazing growth. If you think about 1987 and the size that we were, it was a small company called ADIA, ADIA, which was a Swiss-German acronym for Help by the Day. I'd never even heard of the company. And I had just gotten married and moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, and they were looking for a branch manager. And so I said earlier, I started as a recruiter, but when I joined Adecco or ADIA then, I started as a branch manager. And one of the things that I loved about that was the entrepreneurship in the business. It was like owning your own staffing company with help of this multi-million-dollar staffing company at that time, 300 million, I think we were. And now we're well over 20 billion. So the ride in the industry, right? We've grown so much. So many companies count on us for finding them great talent. And so many people count on us for finding them that first job or that next career opportunity. So just the right time at just the right place, I always say.
Well, but clearly, you know, you say that, but I think you're being really humble. Right time, right place. But we all know that unless you achieve in our industry, you don't stick around very long.
No, and you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think you said something earlier. Both of you said it's hard work. I think our industry is hard work. I don't think you get anywhere by not having a strong work ethic and working at it. And I think Catherine Graham has a wonderful quote. She says, to love what you do and know that it matters, how could anything be more fun? And that's really the way I feel about our jobs each and every day in the industry. It's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding.
It is so true. It's not a job for me. It's fun every day. As you see, I just freaking have fun with it. And everything falls into your hand. I got to tell you one thing, Joyce. I remember when I started the staffing industry in 2012, I pick up an SIA magazine and you're in it. And I read your profile and I'm thinking, who is this Joyce Russell? And then I did some research. I'm not going to lie, 2012. And I'm thinking, someday I want to be just like her, making an impact for people. So I just got to tell you, from day one, I seen you. I was like, who is this person?
Well, that's so nice. I've always had an amazing team around me and supporting me and our industry. And I've been really, really lucky to work with amazing people in the industry. Some of them have been on your show. I've seen them. I've watched every episode with them. So it's going to be fun to be back at Staffing World, right, in person and see everybody in October. I'm thrilled to be there. I got my little chip out about an hour ago, my little poker chip, and I said, you can bet you're going to see me there.
Very apropos. Very apropos.
Excited to see it.
Oh my God.
So Joyce, I got to ask you real quick here. All this like volunteer work and everything you're doing right now with the foundation, can you deep dive into that? Because I mean, there are so many. One that I have that we both share is Dress for Success. I love that organization. I think they're doing so much for women across the country. But what else are you doing out there? to help people?
Yeah. So let me back up just a minute. I transitioned from running our commercial business to running the Adecco Group US Foundation, and was so lucky that our CEO said we have foundations in Spain, in Italy, in France, in Switzerland, but we didn't have one in our great country. And he said, gosh, we should be doing some of that good work here. And so he said, would you like to consider doing that good work? And when I think about it, wow, how to leave a legacy, right? That's what we all want to do in the industry, and put your handprint on it. And so we really focus in the foundation on 3 areas. The first area is around, we believe that the future of work doesn't work for everyone. So we want to upskill, reskill, get people ready for those future jobs. I was on a call earlier today about robots in the warehouses and what kind of training we could do to help people know how to work with those robots. We talked about all this electrification of automobiles and getting people trained to be able to work in those facilities. So we want to, in our first pillar of the foundation, help people from completely free get upskilled and reskilled to be ready for the world of work. Nothing makes me happier than see someone go into one of our forklift training at maybe $14 an hour and they get out at $22 an hour at the end of the day. I mean, are you kidding me?
Talk about an impact.
And then the middle pillar, we signed at the Adecco Group the Paradigm for Parity Pledge that says by 2030, we're one of the companies in the world, along with amazing other brands, that want gender parity in the most senior level jobs. And so we're well on our way to getting amazing women into senior P&L roles within the Adecco Group. Janelle Beeler runs Canada for us. You know, we have so many success stories of different women taking those P&L roles. And then the third pillar, you mentioned it, Richard, is around community service, giving back. And yesterday at 12 o'clock, if you would have been looking for me, I was at the Dress for Success luncheon in Charlotte, where I live, where 400 companies were there, putting their handprint, their legacy on helping those women maybe get some gently used clothes to go on that interview, right? That Zoom interview, we got to look good on the top, you know, and then give them 5 outfits, you know, if they're going to go hybrid to work. But more importantly, connecting them to great work. And our companies can get involved in their local communities. I happen to be on the board of directors globally, but any community that they have a Dress for Success affiliate, they need to get involved. Donate those gently used clothes. In fact, someone on the stage yesterday was saying that she'd gone into a boutique and she said, you know, rich people only wear those outfits 2 times. And so I was just laughing that she
so
said
true.
that on the stage or whatever when she was shopping. Then we also work with Girls That Code. We work with Dreams Come True. We work with a lot of charities just to give back in our local communities. And that's what we're forgetting to do by being home for the last 2 years is get back out, get to work in our local communities. If you think you're hit by the pandemic, you won't believe if you go and work in the communities who's hit by this pandemic and the help that they need from all of us.
So true. Good
Really
stuff.
point.
I'll tell you what, Johnny,
Absolutely.
that's amazing. Giving equals growth. I say that all the time. John hears that from me. That's true in life.
In life, absolutely. I've always been a believer. The more you give, the more you get. And you don't even have to go looking for it. You know, you put good stuff out there, good stuff's going to come back to you. You put bad stuff out there, bad stuff's going to come back to you. It's always been my belief anyway.
That's a great segue into my G word, which is in the book, which is generosity.
Yep.
And I believe in being very generous. And my dad has a saying that you vote with your time. You don't vote with your checkbook. Every single individual has X amount of time, and voting with your time. That's why I wanted to be on the show today. I hope that we can impact the people watching today, give them a few nuggets from this oldie in the industry that wants to help so many more. But I always say I'm planting trees of whose shade I will not sit under. So hopefully there's someone listening today.
Wow.
We will impact them by this podcast and change their life in some way.
Well, you have the word generosity in the title. You know, Joyce has a book, put a cherry on top. Richard, I think you've got a graphic, don't you?
Yes, I do. You ready for this, Joyce? We got to throw this out there for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a graphic too.
There it is. Hey, Joyce, that song was for you too. A little scratch, from the 80s, a little hip hop,
I love that. Well, I like a cherry on top. So that was a cherry on top. And I was telling John yesterday, if people will chat in with us, we've got some free books to send out. So these are the hardbacks, and
those are not an easy commodity to come across.
Wow.
No, the Amazon only has the soft copy, but we have some very special copies here that are autographed for some individuals who'd like to read it after the show. So the first 10 in, John and Richard, we will. Okay, Richard's got one. Now we got 9. We got 9.
Oh my God, Joyce! I'll read it. It'll be all over social media. I swear to God, I haven't read it yet. So look out.
All right. I'm so happy. Lindsay always makes fun of me in here. She says, and you've got to this, and you've got to this. I like to be generous.
You're the Oprah of the staffing industry.
I'm the fairy job mother.
That's right. That's right. So I want to dive in to the book, which was amazing. And chapter 6, one thing that you focused on was retention and how you can use generosity and the cherry on top philosophy to improve retention, which I don't think people intuitively think of. Can you expand more about that?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's all about keeping your great people. And so how do you do that? Right. I always say, one of the finest stores in America out of Texas is Neiman Marcus. So when you're interviewing with me, I always say I shop at Neiman Marcus for talent. I want the very best people on our team. And then the second thing I want to be able to do is to empower you, not micromanage you. I want to let you go do your thing. But in doing that, I'm going to give you some of the best training that you've ever had in the industry. I'm going to reward the heck out of you. I'm going to appreciate and value you. And we're going to have a ton of fun. So that was kind of the philosophy. I also said in the interview, you better be a PhD. And they're like, oh, no, I just have a bachelor's degree or did this. And I'm like, no, poor, hungry, and driven. Poor in knowledge.
I love it.
And driven.
I love that.
PhD, to work here. So we had 170 senior managers when I was running the Adecco commercial business. And we had an average tenure of 17 years with us. 170 senior managers. That's unheard of.
It is. When you shared that stat with me, I was blown away because you do not hear that anymore. There's so much turnover in our industry. And that just, again, it's a testament to the culture that
John,
was there,
I think
and I'm sure you contributed to.
Quit people, not companies or brands. So you own that relationship with that individual. Mm-hmm. So you're trying all the time to show that person that you care more about them than anyone else would ever care. Now, I have let people leave because that's a great opportunity, right? And I have so many individuals now that are running companies in our industry, and I'm so proud of her or him for doing that. And I did have to unselfishly let them go to that great opportunity. That's also okay, right? And then sometimes I say, now you're on loan and I'm going to get you back. I want you to go learn everything about that VMS or that MSP and then come on back.
But that, in my opinion, is the sign of good leadership and good people management, because you want your people to develop and exceed what you've achieved. So when they come up to the ranks, you have some of those, I could never understand why, no, I can't let that person go because they're too valuable to me. Well, what are their goals? Do you know what their goals are? And help them get to their goals. I mean, that's what managers and leaders should do. So it's no surprise that you believe in that as well. And
you catch them before they want to do something else. You catch them and give that opportunity to them, or you catch them early for that raise. You don't wait for them to ask. You're always thinking about opportunities. The other thing, you had us lady leaders on the show, which was so great. I wrote a chapter in the Lady Leaders book that's very different than the other chapters. And that was on the power of experiences. When Sarah, who helped me co-write Put a Cherry on Top, we had worked together for over 30 years. We got together one day and we said, what's the stickiness? What's going on here? You value the person, you give them growth opportunities, you pay them fairly. What's the differentiator? Like, what is it? And Sarah and I just started talking about all the experiences that we've had. And if you see my wall behind me, the reason the pictures are on the wall, which I'm going to talk about, is all those experiences happened while working at Adecco. Little Joyce Russell from Pompano Beach, Florida, would have never had those experiences. So if you look back there, Jack Welch, he was a legend. We got to meet Jack Welch by launching a book called 10-10-10, which was incredible incredible about work-life balance, which is so hard to have. If you look in the bottom, that's Nancy Kerrigan. That's an Olympic athlete that we got to help find a job after she finished her career in sport. Meryl Streep over there in the corner. Who gets to meet Meryl Streep? Well, you know what? We opened the Women's History Museum in DC, and we took every single colleague who had over 30 years with the company to meet Meryl Streep.
Wow.
She is something else. And then over here, Magic Johnson. Are you kidding me? I love Magic Johnson. My husband's a girls basketball coach, so that was like an amazing experience. Elton John, Hillary Clinton, Sheryl Sandberg, Warren Buffett whispering in my ear to buy low and sell high. Wow. Right?
Was he giving you that stock tip?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear what I said? Buy low and sell high. That was his
I love it.
He's so big. But the reason is usually people interview over here and then they're looking back there, and I want to tell them this can be them, right? I was nobody, I mean, and then the middle picture is in the book. The middle picture, right? And the middle picture is William Baird. Anybody know who William Baird was? I sure thought he was the founder of Bank of America, which he wasn't. But you got to read the book to read that story, because that is a really cool story. And the painting should be hanging at the bank, but it's hanging in my office, which is another story. So you got to read the book. And that chapter is about attention to detail.
Wow. Very, very cool. That's awesome. What a great share. It is amazing. And clearly, again, the generosity that you employ has come back to you tenfold, which is a testament to the philosophy.
It is. But I want to kind of jump in, John, just a little bit with the philosophy, because it sounds really fluffy and easy, right? Put a cherry on top. Okay, what's that all about? But what that is really about is that extra effort, which you all talked about in hard work. There's a lot of things that go into that. It's the attention to detail, right, that we need to have in every single conversation and interaction. It's about doing things just a little bit better. And I wanted to tell you a story that will really give you an idea of this. So when my son Coleman was a senior in high school, he was playing a lot of lacrosse games, and many of those lacrosse games were out of town. So we would have to travel to those. And those of you who are working in the industry know, you're pressed to make one of those games on time. And in this particular day, the game was in Raleigh-Durham, and I live in Charlotte, and that's about a 2.5-hour drive. And one of the things that Coleman did not like is me arriving late, in these work clothes, like, Mom, can you look like the other moms? I'm like, oh, I look pretty good, but okay. let me change my clothes before I get to the game. So I pulled through the hotel that we were checking in, called the Umstead. And I said to the person, could you hold my car here? I'm going to run up and change my clothes real quick and run back down and jump back in the car and head to the game in jeans and a little bit more casual. Well, I was starving. I'd left Charlotte, skipped lunch, typical us working in the industry. And when I checked in, I asked the front desk person, did they have an apple or something? Because many hotels will have a basket of fruit at the front and have something out of it. And she said, no, we don't. I said, oh, okay, no problem. I'll just run upstairs. And so I ran upstairs and changed my clothes. I'm coming through the lobby and I hear this, Miss Russell. Now, John and Richard, I didn't know anybody in Raleigh, so I didn't, like, who's calling my name, and there in the lobby was a gentleman in a tuxedo with a silver tray over his head with a red apple and a green apple. And he said, we didn't know what color you might prefer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cherry on top, right?
Totally.
Cherry on top of that service aspect. You see, I still think service wins in our industry. I have three cornerstones, the quality of the candidate, the service we deliver, and the value that comes with it. But the middle one, that service, can win even if you didn't make a good match, even if you're a little bit more money. People will pay for service right now. And so I really believe in doing that service and then putting a cherry on top, doing it just a little bit better than anyone would have expected.
It really is thinking outside the box and thinking, what more could I do? And when you're in this industry, it's what more could I do to give my candidate the memorable experience that they're not going to get anywhere else, to give my client the memorable experience and the service they're not going to get anywhere else. So challenging yourselves to do that. I want you to share one more story with us because I love it. It's the retirement story at Disney.
Oh my gosh, that's Mary Lou
Here we
Rimsky.
go.
I hope Mary Lou Rimsky's listening. So Mary Lou Rimsky ran all of our franchise offices, and she came to me and she said, Joyce, I'm thinking about retirement. And it was kind of like you said earlier, like, oh no, you're so wonderful. I don't want you to retire. But I knew her husband, Joe, had retired and she wanted to begin that transition of spending more time. So the first year I said, okay, Mary Lou, what if you did 4 days this week? Any day you want off, just take it off. And then the next year you did 3 days. And then the next day we'll retire. She said, okay, we'll do that plan. So then it came, John, it was time to retire. And we were having our awards like many people have, a winner's circle, president's club, champion circle. But we were having ours, it's called Superstars, at the Grand Floridian in Disney. And so I said, Mary Lou, we'll do your retirement there and just announce it to everyone. And she said, sounds great. Now you would typically think, okay, I can picture that retirement. Joyce is going to finish the awards. She's going to say a beautiful speech about Mary Lou. She's going to come up and get flowers. You could see the big plaque or trophy or something, right? That's how it went. For me, that's not how things go with me. Things go with me thinking, how can we put a cherry on top of the evening? Now, so what we did was she had come up to the stage, she had the flowers, she had the plaque, and then the side door opens. The side door opens, and then a princess, a Disney princess in a beautiful blue gown walks out singing, When You Wish Upon a Star. You can get the visual, right? That princess coming out. Now, Mary Lou's walking over, and Mary Lou always had beautiful gowns on there, swaying up there, together. Didn't stop there. Door stays open. And then Mary Lou's 2-year-old granddaughter comes out in the same princess costume, yelling, that's my Mimi, this is my Mimi, this is my Mimi. Oh. You can imagine Mary Lou's face. She's got the princess, she's got the 2-year-old granddaughter. Didn't stop there. Then continues out Mary Lou's entire family. On to the stage. Her son, her daughter-in-law, her husband, everyone's up there. Okay, we're in the audience crying now, right? Mary Lou's crying. We're crying. But what was so great about it, John, is we hosted their whole family. After Superstars ended, they could stay, and we announced that. But what it showed to the audience, all of us looking at Mary Lou, is this is how it might be for us. When we spend 20 plus years at Adecco, wow, this is how the end might be. So amazing, so energizing, so generous, so kind, so warm, everything that you want in a culture. So I just love that story and that happened.
I do as well. And it's so personal as well. It's not like, again, it's not a material gift. It's beyond that. It's okay. You went through the effort of coordinating all that. I'm sure keeping it a secret from her and getting everybody in on it and all that, that takes a lot of effort, and that shows that you care more so, just as much about the person and, more so than you care about what that person was to the company, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I think you're saying something really important there. It's personal. I try not to be generic and cherry on top. Cherry on top is different for each person. It might be just your time, right? Being with somebody, or it might be something you do. Lindsay's daughter had her baptism on Sunday. So I wanted to send flowers, but the flowers weren't to Lindsay. They were to Emery. It was the first flowers that Emery would ever get as a 6-month-old, right? Wow. From her Aunt Joyce. I don't have any. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying. Yep. So you're always trying to think about something for that particular person. So I love cherry on top. I'm telling you, we grew a business from 300 million to over 20 billion with this service philosophy. It works.
I love it. And we got some shout outs here, John. Check this out. I mean,
we do.
Look at this.
Oh, Tim. I love Tim.
Tim. Now we know this girl real well. I mean, come on. Who doesn't love?
I love Danielle. Oh my gosh, girl, please, New York City, me and you, so fun. We went to camp. We were going to dinner.
You're called the Oprah of the staffing industry. We got like taglines for you now.
Well, Danielle and I were going to dinner, and we did a cherry on top. We were supposed to be walking, and we had all the pedicabs pull up, and we jumped in the pedicabs together. That was so much fun.
Wow.
I mean, they just keep coming, John. I mean, nonstop, loving, heart. Joyce, it's all about fun and energy. I mean, I've never met you yet, personally. I can't wait to meet you at Staffing World. We have never met, John. So look out.
Well, you're in for a treat.
I'm going to tell you a funny story, Richard. So I met my husband at a party that my parents gave, and I married him 3 months later. Now, you have to know this. So my dad is a farmer, so he comes home from the farm, and I went to the ring, and so I said, you got to go quick, because when the truck pulls up, he's going to come in, get a shower, eat dinner, and go to bed. That's how farmers do. So I said, you got to go now. So when the truck pulled up on the gravel, we could hear it, and so we sent him out. So he was out there for so long, and I'm like, what do you men talk about when you ask dads for your hand? And so anyway, my dad came in and smiled, and he went in his room, and then David came in, and I said, what did he say? What did he say? He said a lot. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, he said that his number 2, which was me, his number 2 daughter, had 2 speeds, high and off was asleep. And he wanted to know if I can handle you. So I said, after 35 years, how's the handling been? But I do have a lot of energy to make a difference in our industry, a lot of energy to make a difference in people's lives. I think I want to do that, and I'm going to continue to do that till I'm not here one day.
I love it. You embrace life so good, and I just embrace that too with you.
Absolutely.
John, any final thoughts, my man? Oh, wow.
Well, you know me, I'm always taking notes. I wrote down PhD because I like poor, hungry, and driven. So I will.
I knew you did.
I will unabolishedly steal that and use it. You know what? I can't thank you enough, Joyce, for joining us today. And you've been such a blessing to our industry. But it's just as much the person who you are, and that emanates. And it's clear to see why people love being around you and why you had such tenure in your leadership chain. People, if you don't have it already, get the book. We've got Abe, Danielle, and Tim that chimed in on the chat. So I think they're going to get hard copies.
We'll get them a hard copy, an autographed hard copy. But I thank you all so much for having me on the show. I know you get to pick who you have, and I feel really lucky and fortunate and blessed to be on the show today. And if I can help anyone through you all, you let me know.
Thank you so much, Joyce. We will see you in a month.
Oh, yeah, you sure will. Look, I have my chip. I'll be on the table.
Okay, so John doesn't even know this. I'm inviting you both. I'm actually doing a TikTok challenge at Staffing World. Get ready. We're going to do a TikTok together, all 3 of us.
Okay.
Look
come up with some ideas.
Look out. I might. Hey, look at this baby. She might come with us.
Oh, boy. We might get 1 million views for that, right, John?
I love it.
All right, you guys. It was so great.
Thank you,
Joyce. Thank you so much.
Thank
Everybody,
you.
we'll see you next week. Take
Sounds
care.
good.
Take care.